Welcome back to our show, Marriage on the Rock, Be Ready to Roll. Last time I opened a topic that I hope I didn't hurt your feelings or I made you confused. It's an important topic, however. The topic is, when do you break your engagement? I wish never for you to do that, but to tell you the truth, I would rather you do that rather than you are stuck in a very miserable marriage should you have not listened to this episode. I promise you there will be 2 episodes in this, and I'll summarize what we did last time. Out of the deal breakers, we covered 5. Is God in it? Did you speak about having children? How much he or she is lying? Can we talk about money? Finances. When I'm going to be happy. Now, number 6, how much time will we spend with our in-laws? Your in-laws, more than likely, are wonderful people to have given birth to this future spouse that you are going to marry. However, though, your in-laws should have no business interfering in your marriage relationships. And I want to make this a bit clearer. While you are engaged, you are responsible from your parents, not from your fiancé. So if something significant happened between you and your fiancé, your dad, your mom should know about. For example, your fiancé is going to move to different country and you are not yet married, you must take the opinion of your parents and your father of confession. After marriage, though, it's your call. They can advise you, but they cannot interfere in your decision. So one of the things you need to watch out during engagement, how much my fiancé is attached, clinged, joined to his parents. So if my future wife cannot go anywhere, cannot accept any decision, every secret we have is known by her sisters and her parents, I would question that. I would first try to make a point that I prefer that you don't tell them except the things that bother you. And if it gets repeated, you need to be patient before you rush into marriage. If your future husband, every secret you have with him, you find that his mother is aware of, including what he got you, what did you drink, what did you eat, where did he take you, what did he say, what did you say, I would be concerned. While in engagement, you are responsible from your parents, that doesn't mean they need to know every single little thing about everything, provided you guys are always in the light, you are both have a father of confession, you are talking to him as a future counselor to both of you, and you can ask him, should we tell our parents or not? Who will do what in marriage? In the States, it's a big mixed pot of all cultures. When we were in a different country, we all came from one culture, one church, sometimes in the same street. Very similar. Now, churches may have 50 different cultures attending the same liturgy. So there may be somebody has a mentality of something that you do not share the same mentality. Discuss it in engagement. For example, maybe I came from a house or a culture that my father, he would not touch anything in the chores of the house. That's his way. And I came from that culture, having this mentality, storing this memory. So talk to me. When we are engaged, ask me, do you think you can take care of, for example, taking the garbage out? Are you able to help me out with the children when we have kids to take them to school? Would you help making the homework with the children in the future? Watch for the answers. If the answer is always that's your job, that's your job, that's your job, I would slow down because maybe the culture here is different. When I say culture is different, it also applies to many things. Maybe the culture of eating. Some families, for example, will eat a rare meat steak and the other one a very well cooked, almost burnt steak. It sounds silly, right? What's the problem? I know, there may be no problem. But talk about it. Because maybe one person will say to the other, that's disgusting. I will never let you eat meat with blood. And all of a sudden you have a dispute that it looks nonsense, but it carries other cultures. It carries other meanings. He is not only projecting on the meat with blood, he has a lot of other mentality and cultures. I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying it's different. And if you haven't explored the variations and the differences between your both cultures, it will come to haunt you after you get married. Number 8, I cannot take his or her defects. Let me preface by saying there is no one called perfect fiancé. If that's the term you are calling about your future wife or husband, then you haven't seen him enough. Every single one has defects. The issue is, can I put up? Can I tolerate? Can I accept those defects? Or they are too major and I will never be able to put up with them. I will be disgusted from that defect. I will be always pointing it out. I will make fun of it. I will argue that he has that defect. Then don't proceed. I may marry a girl who has a major defect that another person could not agree with. It's a matter of how much you can accept. But talk about it now. For example, stubbornness, a very common bad thing in a lot of us. How much stubbornness you can agree with, you can put up with, you can live with. Is it only his decision all the time and he will never change his decision? It's your call. If you agree on this, you will agree on this after 10 years. Don't cry over it if you do not like it now. For example, coming back to the money, and I'm not here saying greedy, but you are a very liberal with money. Money to you is nothing. You just throw the money right and left. And he is very tight about the money. Not greedy, but conservative. Are you able to accept each other defects? He sees you as liberal, too much, and you see him too tight. Can you guys come to the middle, or you cannot? Because if you cannot, then now you really need to think, are you able to live together or not? Number 9, how often do you drink? And I'm saying this with no judgment to anyone, but I can tell you, what you see is what you get. If I'm drinking alcohol once a week, and I promised you I will stop once we walk in the aisle, please do not believe me. Don't believe me. if you want to believe me, I should stop 6 months drinking before we get married. Minimum. What you see is what you get. Marriage changes some things, but actually a lot of things will stay the same, and unfortunately some things may get worse. Why? There is a stress in marriage. There is a new person you are about to know. Let me ask another question. How much you watch pornography as a future husband? You need to ask your future husband that. I'm not even asking him, do you watch or not, but how much, how often? Believe me, ladies who did not want to ask that question now are being so regretful now because they are fighting, both of them, with addiction to pornography. Pornography is addictive. And we will have a full episode about it. But for now, ask your future fiancé, husband or wife, can you go without it? Can you stop it? And as a father to many of you, as a brother to many of you, I would urge you to please him, and his father of confession should be agreeing that he has to stop this habit minimum 6 months before marriage. Live the life of purity, live the life of repentance before, not on the day of marriage. Don't make marriage is a cause or a healing, because it may not be. There are families are used to use hookah at home. I'm not here to judge anyone. I am not here to tell you if you like it or not. But if it's okay with you, your future husband or wife have been living like this for the last 10 years with their parents. More than likely, they will adopt the same habit. Please speak about it. Tell them we want this or we don't want this. It's your call. Are you going to allow alcohol or not allow alcohol in future home? Are you going to drink, and how much you drink, and how often, and what, and with who? Please talk about it. And please speak to your father of confession. I'm just here giving blank statements. Number 10. Have you ever abused anyone? Sounds dangerously bad question, but let me explain it. Unfortunately, some of us have seen parents who are being abused emotionally or physically. Some of us may have seen fathers hitting their mothers. Some of us may have seen fathers cursing their moms or emotionally abuse them. It has been in the memory since I was a child. I saw it. Now, you as my fiancé and my future wife, you need to watch the way I'm reacting with you when I get angry. Do I ever curse? Do I ever emotionally abusive? I am saying this because I wish I will never see another abuse in any married couple again. It came because fiancé and engaged couple never looked at this before marriage. We don't want to deal with this after the fact. Talk about it. Did your father ever hit your mom? What kind of question is this? Just answer me. Yeah, sometimes. How do you feel about it? Would you ever hit me? What? I would never touch you. No, seriously. What if I made a very bad mistake? Would you ever hit me? Would you ever abuse me? Talk about it, please. And not just talk about it, observe, watch. Because sometimes observations are more important than telling. Finally, being faithful to each other during engagement. I will never forget this couple, that they came to me after a major dispute because while they were engaged, he went into a trip with his work, and unfortunately he committed infidelity. He had sex with an employee far away in a hotel while they are at work. Now the question was, would we continue or not? My answer was no. No. If it's after marriage, we try to mend it and we try to forgive and we try to repent and we try to put a lot of limitations how to live faithful to each other after marriage. But before marriage, if he or she was not faithful to you, that's a deal breaker, my friend. Because there will be so many reasons for him to be unfaithful if he is unfaithful to do without good reasons. You may be pregnant at one time. He may be sick at one time. He may be away at one time. She may be away at one time. Would you be unfaithful? If you are unfaithful now, I urge you to speak to your father of confession, because that is a big deal breaker. One of the things I need to mention last, if you have nothing more to say, that's a bad sign. I hate it when I hear a couple saying, we are engaged for 9 months, but lately I don't have anything to say. We stay silent because we finished talking. I get so worried about that. If that happened in marriage, we try to help it out after 10, 15 years. But if it happens in engagement, I will be so scared to continue. Because that means your interest in each other had been tampered with, have been affected, decreased. So I urge you, if you have nothing else to say to each other, slow down, think again. Why? Do you have to continue or not? Is this the right relationship or not? So I hope you have been listening and listening carefully, because this is a topic you may not hear from many people, but is so important. Welcome back to our show, Marriage on the Rock. This episode is how to choose your future spouse. Engagement is not a thing. So when we come to choose, sometimes we choose without maturity. It helps me a lot to learn that my son or daughter are mature in their thinking. That you are asking for someone that you know very well. There is no compatibility whatsoever. Ask yourself how many things you loved so much and now you hate very much. What makes me happy and what gets me angry? It's not the right time. I'm about to go back to a different country. Don't try to know someone now and you will not be able to get to know her longer. He likes the girl, he introduces himself, he shows that he's interested. She gave him sign that she's also interested, but you focused only on the appearance, on the outer, but you never really examined the inner, and that could be a mistake. Many of the marriages that failing today started this way, and that's why I'm hoping to warn you from falling in the same mistake.